The entire band charged onto the field and celebrated with the players. I like helped pick Lovie Smith up. Really, really, really cool experience.
Hello and welcome. My name is Zoe, and I am so excited to be interviewing exceptional Illini from all across campus so that you can get an inside look into what it's like to be a student at Illinois. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss a video, and also let us know in the comments who you'd like to hear from next. Today I am sitting down with John. This guy is impressive. He just graduated with his degree in political science and econ, and this next fall he's going to be starting law school, but for the year before that he's interning with Governor J.B. Pritzker. I got to hear all about John's travels to Vienna and through the rest of Europe, and also about his experience with the Marching Illini, so I really hope you enjoy. Well, thank you for joining me today. I'm so excited to interview you because I'm a big fan of your work with the Marching Illini. I love the Marching Illini so much. And I guess, well, first you should introduce yourself and say what your major is and where you're from and all that good stuff. And then I would love to hear a little bit about that. So go ahead.
Okay. All right. So my name is John Grosboll. I was a senior. I just graduated from the U of I, and I was a double major in political science and economics in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. I'm originally from Petersburg, Illinois, which is a really small town right outside of Springfield. It's like 25 minutes, and it's a town of about 3,000 people, so very small. But yeah. Cool.
And what instrument do you play?
So in the band, I play the alto saxophone. I've been a member of the Marching Illini now for the past 3 years. And I've been a member of the basketball athletic bands for 4 years.
So I'm imagining that at least a small percentage of people watching this video are at least, play an instrument, might be interested in joining the Marching Illini. So maybe do you want to just talk about what the process was like for auditions and what your experience with them has been?
Sure. Yeah. So it's a pretty straightforward audition process. I actually didn't audition as a freshman. I didn't think that that's what I wanted to do. I didn't really have much of an experience in high school with marching band. But when I decided freshman year that, I'm going to go for it next year. It's in the spring. There is a play and audition. So you go in, or you can send in a video of you playing certain tunes, certain scales. And then if you do good enough, you get invited to camp, which is a week before the whole school year begins. You go to camp, you learn all the, Big Ten cool looking steps. You learn about our culture. You memorize, our 8 traditional fight songs. And if you do well, then they make final cuts, and then the final band is set for the year.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's a good process. It's competitive, but I wouldn't say it's like really stressful or anything like that.
Sweet. So you guys played every home football game, and you guys went to some away games this year. Could you tell me a little bit about the away game at, was it Michigan State that you guys? Okay.
Yeah. So if anyone who follows Illinois football knows, we've had some down years recently, at least during my time here. So I'd never been to a bowl game or anything like that. And you have to get 6 wins to make a bowl game, at least. So we went to Michigan State, and the band was scheduled to go. So we went to the game, traveled with the team. We had 5 wins. We needed 1 more. And they set us up on the sideline, like right by the end zone. So we were all crammed in there watching the game. And all of a sudden we're down by like 28 points. We're just getting like creamed in the first half. And then we start chipping away at the lead. And we end up coming back, and it ended up being the largest comeback victory in Illinois history. We won the game in like the last final seconds. The entire band charged onto the field and celebrated with the players. I like helped pick Lovie Smith up. Really, really, really cool experience. And it was what clinched a bowl game. And then for the bowl game, we traveled out to, the entire band got to go to Santa Clara and play in the San Francisco 49ers NFL stadium. We didn't win the game, but it was a really, really great experience out there in the Red Box Bowl.
That's so awesome that the whole band got to go. I mean, how many pieces is the band?
We are 375 in total. So that is instruments, guards, so flags, the dance team, the Illinettes, and then staff as well. So that we're 375. Yeah, and it was a major, we had a lot of donors come forward and help the entire band go because it's been so long, we couldn't just leave people behind. So it was a really big thing. And we're really thankful to all be able to have gone.
For sure, especially as a senior, that was probably nice to finally have a bowl game.
It was a special year, that's for sure.
Very cool. And are you a part of any, you said you're in basketball band as well?
Yeah.
Any special games from this year?
Well, this year was a great year. We were actually, it's a bummer. We were all set to, go to the Big Ten tournament and the NCAA tournament before all this happened. But it was a great year. I think my favorite memories is just basically the last half of the season. Every single game was sold out because there was so much excitement. So they did things where, it was orange out where everyone wore orange. And I guess the game that stands out the most was the last game of the year against Iowa. It was senior night. We kind of had a rivalry with Iowa all year long, and we won in the last final seconds. And just the energy in the arena was just great. And it was a really good way, to finish things out.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We've been needing some good years in football and basketball. That is awesome. So going back to school stuff. So you studied political science and econ and you just graduated. Mm-hmm. And so let's go chronologically. So you came in DGS, correct?
Yeah, that's right. I didn't really know what I wanted when I came in freshman year, so I joined the Division of General Studies, which is its own college, and I think it's the second largest amount of college with the second most freshmen, I guess. So it was a really good experience. It gave me a chance just to knock out some general education courses and kind of explore. And I pretty quickly latched on to political science and economics, and a year into the program decided to switch over permanently. Great.
Yeah, It's a good opportunity to explore and take classes that you maybe wouldn't have even known that you were interested in. I mean, I sure didn't know what I envisioned for my 4 years with my first semester on campus. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I came from a small town, and it's we didn't even have econ in my school. So it's I didn't even know what that was. Yeah. So I had to come here and take some classes and explore it. So DGS was great for that. Yeah.
Great. And now you're on to law school, or I guess tell me about your post-grad plans.
Okay. So I've been admitted and accepted my admission to the University of Michigan Law School. But I deferred a year, so I will start in the fall of 2021. I've been a lifelong Illinois fan, so going to Michigan's a little, a bit of a bummer, but it's a great school, and I love the campus.
I understand.
Yeah, but for the year before that, I decided to take kind of a gap year, and I will be a Dunn Fellow in the office of Governor J.B. Pritzker in Springfield. So I'm from the Springfield area, so I'll be living at home, working in his legislative affairs office in the Capitol building. So that's dealing with legislators, answering questions, tracking bills, helping kind of craft his legislative agenda. So it'll be really great.
Yeah, sounds like a great experience, important work. You really got it all set up. That's so fantastic.
It worked out somehow.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's something that a lot of people are thinking about right now is the immediate future for freshmen who are about to start college, and then also seniors graduating. I mean, everything is so uncertain. These uncertain times, as we are so constantly hearing. But yeah, it sounds like you're pretty well set. So congratulations for having your hard work pay off. That's really great.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course. So could you tell me about Vienna and the trip or the class associated with that trip?
Sure. So I've always wanted to study abroad. I've really liked traveling. It's something I've been lucky enough to do a lot, in my life. So I always wanted to study abroad though and get that experience, but I never wanted to miss a basketball season. I never wanted to miss a football season. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, I need maybe something smaller, maybe a summer trip or something. So this program was called the European Union and Governance through the Political Science Department. And you had 8 weeks here on campus. and then you had 4 weeks in Vienna, Austria. We lived in a dorm, a residence hall out there. We visited, took classes in one of their universities they have, got to visit all sorts of international organizations like the United Nations, met with U.S. diplomats who are like, the people who, do some serious negotiations, and a bunch of other organizations as well. So it was a really good experience just to live in Vienna. It's one of the great European cities, going to museums and parks and cafes and things like that. And then when the program ended, I actually stuck around for like another week in Vienna. And then I started traveling and I went north. So I went to Munich, then up through Germany. So Nuremberg, I went up the Rhine River, saw a bunch of castles, went to Cologne, and then I ended in Amsterdam, and then I flew home from Amsterdam. So it was a great experience. Anyone who is thinking about studying abroad, I'd recommend it, even if it's like a shorter program like the one I did.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 4 weeks is significantly shorter than a semester, but it sounds like you still got a ton out of it, and the class beforehand was probably really informative. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and any specific stories or memories from that whole trip? Even the trip afterwards would be fine.
Here's this is from the trip afterwards. I really wanted to see some like German castles, I wanted to see these old medieval castles. And I heard about this one that was really good, like off the Rhine River. So I took a train by myself to this castle. I get off in this small little town, and there's just no one there, no one at all. There's like one little sign that's saying the castle's this way. So I start to walk. And before I know it, I'm in this trail by myself in the middle of the woods, no cell connection. And I'm just walking, hoping I find this castle for like 40 minutes. And then I just turn a corner. Yeah, I was getting a little concerned, but I figured I was going the right way. It was a great walk.
This way, so.
Yeah, it said that. So I turned a corner, and then boom, was just this massive, just gorgeous castle, which was fully intact because it was so high up in like the mountains and the forest that like people didn't find it or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. And so I toured that, and it was a really cool experience. But yeah, for a while I was like, wait a minute, I'm alone in the middle of Germany in a forest with no cell connection. This is kind of concerning here, but it worked out fine, and it was one of the best days especially of that like trip afterwards.
What an adventure! That is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally metaphorical. If you let it be that way, you got to go off the beaten path, and you don't know where you're going, and then all of a sudden, boom, just a huge castle. That's fantastic. Cool.
Yeah.
Switching gears a little bit. So you lived in a house in Urbana, and I am interested in what you might say to a freshman who's about to be living in the dorms as the difference between living in a house with friends, from like how that's different from a residence hall experience.
Sure. Residence halls definitely have a lot of pros to them. I met a lot of people like on my floor, my roommates, because I lived in residence halls my first 2 years. And I really enjoyed the dining plan as well. Not having to cook your own food's really good. Mm-hmm. But the nice thing about like the U of I community in the area is there's a ton of different living options. So I did residence hall, had that experience for 2 years. Then I moved into an apartment over in Champaign, which I tell people is kind of got a small city, very lively environment. And then I had a few friends from band, and we were like, let's get a house. So we got a house over in Urbana, which is brick roads, a much quieter neighborhood. And it's been great. We have a fenced in backyard. I've got a grill. I'm actually here now, and I plan to stay around this summer. It's living in a house is a great experience. I'd recommend it to anyone. It's kind of a cheaper option too, versus like an apartment or residence hall. But I really did enjoy my time in the residence halls, and it's something everyone goes through, and it kind of brings people together in that way.
Yeah, definitely. I'm still pretty close with my roommate from freshman year, and it's like an instant best friend, maybe.
Yeah.
Depends on who, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool. And so living in Urbana, okay. And I guess you already went into this a little bit, how Champaign is a little bit more lively than Urbana, but this is where we have a question in the speed round about this, but could you talk a little bit about like downtown Champaign, downtown Urbana, just like the general campus area, Champaign-Urbana area?
Sure. Yeah. So there's kind of like three communities. You've got like Campustown right in the middle, which you've got, Green Street, which is where you can find all your, restaurants and fast food restaurants or just local places. Then you have downtown Champaign, which is probably the largest area, and it has all sorts of restaurants. It's got, bars and grills. It's got barbecue places. It's got some really fancy restaurants as well. It's a very kind of up and coming neighborhood. It's very nice. It's a great place to go with parents to get dinner.
For sure.
Yeah. Urbana is much smaller. Kind of reminds me of my hometown a little bit. It has some great restaurants as well that I've been to. And it actually has every year this thing called the Urbana Sweet Corn Festival, where it's just like, corn everywhere surrounding their big county courthouse. And I went my freshman year and got a bunch of corn. And so you kind of have like a small town feel there. Then you have Campustown, which is just like students, basically all just students there. And then you have Champaign, which is kind of a small city, lots of great food options.
Definitely. Oh, the food. I mean, Sweet Corn Festival for one. It's just so wholesome. I love the Sweet Corn Festival. I go every year. It's my favorite.
Yeah, it's a great experience, especially if you're, not really from Central Illinois. It'll introduce you to the culture pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah. That's great. And food. I hear we're the number 2 food town in the Midwest, which I totally believe. And what are some of the places you like to eat on campus or near campus?
Okay. Yeah. So again, it's like kind of different places everywhere. Over in Urbana, I really love Black Dog Barbecue. It's a really great barbecue restaurant where you can get pulled pork and brisket and things like that. So if you like meat, that's a great place to go. Although I know vegetarians that like it too somehow. So I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. So that's a great place in like on Green Street, as I mentioned, which is right in the middle of Campustown. I really love Legends Bar and Grill. They've got great fish sandwiches and burgers and things like that. There's a bunch of pizza places in Champaign I really like. Papa Del's comes to mind.
Pops for pizza or no place at all.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great place to go get some deep dish pizza, and good thin crust as well. And then there's another good place in Champaign called, my parents and I always went there. It's called Seven Saints, which is a great place that has, mini like sliders, like little burgers, salads, soups, just a really good place to go maybe on like a game day or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So many great options. That's fantastic. And you were also a Student Alumni Ambassador. What was that experience like?
Yeah, so the Student Alumni Ambassadors are a group of students on campus who from all parts of the campus. It's a very diverse group, very involved, and they help plan large-scale events like homecoming, Illinois Sights and Sounds, which if you've ever seen like photos of the freshman class, it's like the big eye that they make in the middle of the field. That's Illinois Sights and Sounds that Student Alumni Ambassadors run. A bunch of other events as well, like I Love Illinois Week and things like that. So it's great. My favorite part about being part of the group is just all the people. It's a lot of really, really great people in that group. And I've met a lot of, as I mentioned, a lot of really awesome individuals and had some really cool experiences, planning all these events. That's
great. And I don't know if this is related, but you also got to hear former President Barack Obama speak on campus. Mm-hmm. What was that like?
Oh, it was incredible. So it was announced that he was going to come to campus in the fall of, I think, 2018. I think that's right. and he was getting an award of some type from the university. And they were going to auction off, tickets for students to go. So there were like 800 tickets available, and 30,000 students applied for these tickets. I actually, did not get one of the original tickets, but I worked for one of the organizations I was in is the Student Advocacy Coalition. And, we help advocate for the university in Springfield. We message legislators, things like that. And they had us help walk people over. So I walked Treasurer Frericks over to the building. And for doing that, they gave us a ticket and we got to go sit and watch. So it was a really great experience. He's definitely an idol of mine for sure, from Illinois. I really like his positive messages, and it was a really, really cool experience. And there were so many people on the quad just hoping to see him as he came out of Foellinger Auditorium. And then he popped into a local cafe called Cafe Paradiso, which I love. And I actually had a friend that was in there, and she just hears this voice, turns around, and there he is with Governor Pritzker as well. So it was a really cool experience, really cool day on campus, for everyone, even if you didn't get to go in and watch him speak.
Oh, definitely. I remember I was on that side of campus when he was over at Cafe Paradiso, and I was like, no, I just missed him.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. And so I asked you if there's a person on campus who's really made an impact on you, and you mentioned Barry Hauser. And you're not the only person who said that. It sounds like he's kind of the, he's the director of the marching band, I believe. Yeah.
Yep.
Director of the marching band.
That's correct. Yeah.
Could you tell me about Barry is my dad? I keep hearing that.
Well, he's a father figure. He really is.
Cool.
I think someone made him a Wikipedia page, and it said children, and it said his 2 kids and then 375 others. And that's just the vibe he gives off is just a fatherly figure. It's someone who he expects a lot out of you. We want to be a really good band and hold up to that tradition we have. But at the same time, he realizes we need to have a good time. We need to have fun. He realizes everyone's at this time in their life where they just want to have good experiences and grow. And he really, really helps you do that. And he helped me do that by, allowing me to have some leadership responsibility in the band. I knew he would always write me a letter of recommendation or sit down and talk with me if I needed someone. And so this saying Barry is my dad is kind of just developed, I think, years ago because of this kind of, dad vibe he gives off. And it's all good.
Awesome. That is great. Mm-hmm. Well, now that you are a graduate and, the semester's over and we're all pretty much at home with the exception of essential workers, have you been listening to or watching or reading anything that's been bringing you joy or that you're super interested in lately? I try to listen to the news and stay up to date, but you can't listen to that too long without getting kind of sad or whatever. I really like sports. I love sports. It's kind of like an escape for me. So I just watched, as a Bulls fan, I just watched the ESPN's documentary, The Last Dance, about Michael Jordan and the Bulls in the 90s. And that was a really, really great documentary. And I loved that every Sunday. Reading, oh man, people will probably think I'm lame for this, but I really like books that are those books you were forced to read in high school. I really liked them. So I'm reading To Kill a Mockingbird and books like that right now. Trying to get back into reading a little bit more now that I have time. Yeah.
Otherwise though, I'm just trying to relax. I'm trying to learn the guitar since I've got some free time. I'm trying to work out as much as I can. I just kind of enjoy my last few, weeks and months on this campus. So.
Right. Yeah. A little emptier than a normal summer, but you still get to enjoy the quad and just enjoy being there. Champaign-Urbana is such an awesome place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it is. It is. And it's, I've had a lot of memories here and I feel like I've grown a lot here. And, so just walking around, other than just like the pure beauty of it, gives me a lot of good memories and a lot of good feelings.
Awesome. So we're coming to the end of the main portion of the interview.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my final question would be, what would you say to somebody who is an incoming freshman? They're kind of scared about what's happening in the world naturally and just worried for the future. And if you could give this person a pep talk, what would you say?
Sure. Well, first of all, I tell them this isn't going to last. We're going to get over this, sooner rather than later. And things will rebound. And to be honest, I can't think of a better place to kind of weather the storm than college. You're not out in the workforce. You're not, you're here learning, and you're with a bunch of other people that are in the same boat as you. And to be honest, college is where, at least for me, I've grown tremendously. I've had so many great experiences. I've learned what I wanted to do and set me up for the future. And so I just would say, if you're worried about it, I understand that, but college is a great place to be. And even in this situation, it'll still be great. And so, yeah, I would just say, don't worry about that. In terms of advice, I know you had asked about some advice I might give a high schooler.
Yeah.
I would just say enjoy every moment, even if it's a weird moment like this where you might have some classes online and some not, or, it's kind of weird going on. Just enjoy everything, because there's going to be ups and downs where you have to stay up real late studying, or maybe something didn't turn out quite right like you wanted. And that's okay. And it's okay to feel bad, but just keep staying on the bright side and just enjoy your college experience, because it goes by really fast.
Oh, sure does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I feel better. I imagine that will help help our freshmen feel better too. That's great.